So I'm here to present a case study of the work that I do in Germany called My Country Talks. We are a political dialogue platform, and I am the technical project manager there. I started in 2020, so it's been about 3 years that I'm working there. We're just a team of two, so we just divide everything in half, but everything that does with the technical stuff, the software that we run kind of goes through me. So I'm really happy to be presenting here at this conference. What is My Country Talks? So the idea is really simple. It's really a case study in this AE that has been presented, which I just love and I'm stealing now. We connect people with different political opinions for a one-on-one conversation. The project started in 2017 at Zeit Online. That's Zeit means time. It's one of the biggest legacy German newspapers. And we've run programs since then in over 20 countries. We have a cross-border format. We're running the World Talks now, which I'd love to tell you about. And we have engaged over 250,000 participants. So I want to roll back the clock to where we were when we started and why this started. 2017 was a kind of landmark year for politics. Of course, Trump was elected, Brexit in Britain, the Alternative for Deutschland party, that's the German right-wing party in Germany, got way more of the vote than anybody was expecting. That, of course, is Marine Le Pen, who ran for president in France. And it really felt like this new moment where people have stopped talking to each other. Everybody is getting their news on new social media platforms governed by these algorithms that we don't understand. And what are we going to do when democracy breaks down because we're in this new polarized landscape? And since that time, polarization has really become a buzzword for our industry. And I thought it was good to talk about this because we're having a lot of conversations about algorithms, about how media is changing, about how people are getting their news. And you really can't talk about algorithms and media without talking about polarization. So I want to start with some definitions. What is polarization? What are we talking about when we say this word over and over again? There are two types of polarization. There's ideological and there's affective. Ideological polarization is just a disagreement between people about politics, policies, how to govern. Whereas affective polarization is a real feeling of animosity toward other people because of their political affiliation. So ideological polarization is called like the healthy polarization. That's what we need for democracy to function. We need people to have different opinions about how we're going to govern the country, what should we do with taxes, what should we do with laws and with policies, and that's fine. But what's not fine is when people stop being able to collaborate and compromise in democratic spaces because they don't trust each other anymore. So that's how we get to effective polarization, and that's what we're really worried about now. That's the kind of polarization that leads to a breakdown in dialogue that undermines democratic institutions. It's the kind of polarization that says, I would be really disappointed if my child started dating somebody from the other political party. So that's what we're worried about, because at its extreme, it can lead to violence. And we have to do something in the media. I think we all feel kind of caught by this situation, right? Because we know that we play a role in people consuming this news that reinforces their own mindset, but it's because of this technological ecosystem that we also find ourselves kind of victims of, and that's a lot of what we've been talking about. So what can we do, and how can we be proactive? And it's not in our heads. We're not crazy. It is rising all around the world. This is data from Germany, Britain, and the US. It's rising in other countries as well. We just don't have data as well as we have in these countries. But you can really see that even since 2000, we've been on this track of rising polarization. So what can we do? There's good news. This is some data from a paper that is forthcoming right now on one of our programs that shows that if people have more touch points, more contacts to people from other political parties, their polarization levels are reduced. So simply just having a human contact, a human experience with someone from another party leads to a reduction in effective polarization. So that's where we come in. We call ourselves the Tinder for Politics. We just connect people from totally different political views together for a one-on-one, totally private, unmoderated conversation. And our methodology is scientifically proven to reduce effective polarization after just one conversation. It seems so simple, but it really does work. How does it work? So we start off by asking people around 7 to 9 yes or no questions. These are on a range of issues that are polarizing in whichever context that we're working at the time. So our flagship program is Germany Talks. We do it every year in Germany. And last year we did a whole series where all of the questions were all about the war in Ukraine. So what was really dividing society about the war, about refugees coming in, misinformation that was proliferating out from Russia. And we get people to answer these questions with either a yes or a no. And then everybody goes into our database and we just match all the yeses with the nos. So we try and find you a specific conversation partner that has the furthest possible differences of opinion from you. And then those two people, once they're matched together, they both have to agree that they want to meet. That's like the Tinder part. They have to swipe on each other. But if they do, then they are matched together and enabled to have this really private, totally unmoderated one-on-one conversation. Here are some of the programs that we've run in the past. We've gone all over. We started in Germany, and since that first year, a lot of media around Europe and then around the world saw the model and said, wow, we have this problem as well in our country. We'd love to use your methodology. So we've developed a software that runs all of these programs end to end. So those 7 to 9 yes or no questions get put into a questionnaire. It sits natively in the articles, so as your readers are scrolling through, they can answer those questions and sign up. And then we have the algorithm that matches them together. We have some security screening and a little CMS so you can send emails to your participants, and then we manage the conversations. So you see, we've done America, we've done Thailand talks, Britain talks. We had 2 events in Ukraine before the war started. We have our pan-European platform called Europe Talks, where we connect people from different countries to talk about pan-European issues. And we are from the newsroom, so all of our work kind of centers back around creating these coalitions of media wherever we're working. On the one hand, we do this because we really want to get a variety of people to sign up. We need people with different political opinions to be signing up in order for these matches to work. So wherever we go, we try and build coalitions of media, whether that's from different sides of the political spectrum. It can also be like a legacy paper and a more digital online, catering to a younger audience. But we try and get media to be working together and recruiting their readers, and then their readers all go into the same database and get matched together. It's also very useful because I don't speak Thai. I don't know what is polarizing in Thailand. So by forming these media coalitions, we can make sure that they are asking what's relevant in their society and everything is localized. And this is the program we're running now. If you scan this QR code, or you can go to theworldtalks.org, you can actually see how our software works and you can sign up yourself. On June 25th, for the first time ever, we're going to be matching the world. So we have these 17 media partners from all different countries who are recruiting their readers right now, signing up. And then on June 25th, if you sign up, you will be matched with someone on the other side of the world who has different opinions from you. And what can the world talk about? So with these 17 media partners, we've come together and defined some questions that we think that the world should have a conversation about. So we have, is the world a better place now than it was 20 years ago? Does hard work always lead to a better life? Spoiler alert, this is the most polarizing question. Are older generations living at the expense of younger people? Also super divisive. Should we always prioritize climate change or climate protection, even if it requires sacrifice? A really interesting question. So yeah, go to this QR code or type theworldtalks.org into your browser and you can actually sign up. Or if you're just curious about how our software looks and works, you'll see that as well. And now, usually when I'm at this point of the pitch, people are like, that sounds really cool, but does it actually work? Or do people just like fight with each other and have a really terrible experience? And I think that's the really cool thing about this AE, like actual experiences in real life, is that they don't feel like experiences online. When you're in a mass online social media platform, it's really easy to get into fights. But when you're talking to somebody face to face, it's a lot harder to be rude, and people are actually quite good at having a nice conversation with people. So 80% of our participants say that they are happy with their conversation. 60% even said that they will stay in touch with their partner, which again, talking about those touch points to reduce effective polarization is really important. And 55% even said that their partner was convincing on one or more topics. And it's not our goal that anybody changes their mind, but I think this really shows the open-mindedness and flexibility that people walk away from these conversations with. We also conducted a study with Harvard and Stanford. These are two researchers, Martin Konen and Adrian Blattner in economics, who asked the question, does our Germany format actually have a reduction in affective polarization? Like, are we causing a change that is statistically significant? And their outcomes I find really interesting. So first of all, they found that after one conversation, discrimination against supporters of other parties was significantly reduced. They also found that that participants liked their conversation partner as much as someone from their own party. And again, affective polarization is a feeling. It's a feeling that people from the other party are causing harm to your society or are not to be trusted. So liking someone is actually a really good metric in this case. And this I find super interesting. There's some other research to back it up. And for us as journalists, I find this the most interesting. People had the largest reduction in their polarization levels when they didn't talk about politics. So all you need to know is that you're talking to someone who disagrees with you or who you would consider your enemy. And if you have a really nice conversation about the same football team, you both have grandkids, you both have the same hobbies, the reduction in polarization is larger than if you were to actually debate politics. So when we're thinking about framing stories or when we're thinking about exposing people to different viewpoints, it doesn't always have to lean on the political or on the party line. You can just show that these are people who have something common in with you, even though they may have different political opinions. What about people who don't want to participate? It's not a nice experience to have a debate with a total stranger that you've never met before that disagrees with everything that you hold as your core beliefs. It's for a specific type of person who really likes to do this, and there are tons of people in your own readership who would say, never, I will never do this. And that's fine, you don't need to. This is the other reason why we work with media, because there is a really strong amplifier effect when we use these stories to create solutions-focused constructive journalism. And some research that I came across recently from Kubin, Gray, and Fonsecorsky, I'll get out of the way, shows that when you pair facts with personal experiences, it reduces political dehumanization. So we like to pitch this program as an engagement platform for your readers to broaden their horizons, burst their filter bubble, meet somebody new. But for journalists, it's also a way to gather reader-focused stories and use them in your reporting to pair hard political questions with anecdotes, or to just simply show what are the life experiences that have led our readers to have the political opinions that they do. So this is a couple of examples that we have. This is during one of our Europe Talks series during COVID, the first pandemic winter after, where we went around Europe and we interviewed people of how they were experiencing the pandemic. So this is a woman in Switzerland who lived in a farm so remote that the pandemic was just kind of an idea for her, contrasted with a cab driver in Dublin who had lost his income because of the pandemic. This is a series we're running on Instagram right now. You can follow us at My Country Talks. I just posted a new one the other day. I love this series. People who are signing up right now for the World Talks are sending us pictures and quotes, and we're able to create these little social media profiles of how people live around the world. And we have this really great partner in Great Britain who is just like a rising star with reader-focused journalism. They do incredible work. It's called the Daily Mirror. They had a series produced from one of their Britain Talk series it's a video of two men talking about whether or not we should tear down statues or whether we should leave them up and amend them. And then they found these two guys in one of our Europe Talk series, totally organic. I think this is amazing. It's like a little database of protagonists that you get if you participate in one of these programs. Two Santa Claus impersonators, people who like for a living dress up as Santa Claus, one in Germany, one in the UK. And so they brought them together and had them talk about like Christmas and the holidays, but also the recession and the war. And it's a really amazing piece. So I'll wrap up with some takeaways. I hope I'm on time. So first of all, I just want to start by saying we in the media, this can feel like a really big problem. Like this polarization problem, especially now that our content is changing, our business models are changing, and it feels like we want to serve our communities. We want to switch more towards a service model, but this is one of those big problems that we're going to have to touch, and it can feel daunting, and it can feel like, can we even make an impact? And the answer is yes. And that's my main takeaway for you, is that we in the media can have an impact on this problem. First of all, just expose your readers to other points of view. It really is as simple as that. The more touch points that we can create between people and of totally different political opinions, the more that we can start breaking down these walls of effective polarization. And do it with your journalism. Start reaching out to readers, highlighting their stories, showcasing good examples of discussions and dialogue. Start pairing facts with anecdotes. It does reduce political dehumanization. And then finally, if you do have the capacity, these dialogue programs, you don't have to build an entire software in order to run something like this in your community. Get your readers in dialogue with other people in their community, with other people in your own readership, and with yourself. This is also a really important aspect of what we do, is that we connect people with us as journalists every time we produce one of these stories, and that also makes a really big impact. Or if you want to use our software, reach out to me. We are grant funded, so it's free, and we're always looking for programs. We're running America Talks in September, so we'd love to collaborate with anybody who wants to do with that. And sign up for the World Talks. You can also promote it to your readership. We are running registrations until the 18th of June. So that's the deadline to sign up, and I really hope that I see all of you in our database. And thank you very much.